Good afternoon, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever I happen to be reaching you at. This is your brother Herman with another one of Brother Herman's updates. Now, I just want to talk to y'all about, how I grew up. I grew up in a pretty much a good neighborhood. Never really saw any kind of pests or, roaches or rats or anything like that until I think it was 1979 or 80, around 80. Could have been 81, when my mom got tired of being called the N-word at her job in Winn-Dixie. This is in St. Petersburg, Florida, so it's in the South, and it was very prevalent back then, and it was allowed. Nothing was done back then for that kind of a behavior coming from the customers that used to come through there and call my mom outside of her name. So she just got pissed off, and she just quit finally after working there 11 years, by the way. Putting up with that kind of abuse for 11 years. That's what we do. We put up with a lot of abuse. So we wound up having to move because my mom had to change jobs. This is when she went into the healthcare industry, where she did about 40 years of that before she passed recently. But when we moved, we started to see things that we never really saw before. Like, we had to live with roaches and a couple of mice here and there, and we didn't know what to do with that. We was terrified as kids, me and my brother, but we didn't want to put up with that. So we started finding ways or looking for things to kind of kill those pests. So we didn't really want to live with that kind of a infestation. Now, we met a friend of ours, and we used to go over his house, and it was his grandma's house, and older folk. They tend to get used to these kinds of pests. So much so that when you go over there, it was almost like a common thing to see these kinds of pests. And I want to tell you, when you cut on a light, the roaches, they usually run. And the rats will usually take off and go into their corners and whatnot. But if you ignore these intolerable pests that can poison you based off of the drippings and the droppings in your food that you have to eat. Could be inside of your pots, could be inside of the stove, whatever you cook at, you're going to have some droppings, and these things can lead to cancerous agents. And when you get so comfortable that you don't do anything about this type of an infestation, this kind of a pest problem, cockroaches and rats, they get bolder and bolder and bolder and bolder, so much so that when you cut the light on, they don't even run anymore. They kind of look up at you and be like, we ain't done yet. You might want to wait your turn, type of a thing. And this is exactly what I was experiencing when I was about 11 to 12 years old. And we used to look at each other, me and my brother and I, and say, how can someone live with this kind of a infestation? How could they deal with this? How can they put up with it? But I guess they got immune to it. They got used to it. Why am I talking about this? Because that's exactly what's going on right now inside of this country of ours that we call the United States of America. We have an infestation problem. We have a pest problem. We have a bunch of cockroaches and a bunch of rats that when you cut on the lights, they don't do what they used to do anymore, which was run and go hide. They don't do that no more. Now they look up at you and be like, you're the problem. You shouldn't be here. We're perfectly fine swimming in your pots. We're perfectly fine eating it out your pots and off of your counters and your inside of your stove and inside of your refrigerators. Because why? Because, hey, you allowed us to be here for so long, we don't have to go anywhere. And so what is the resolution or the solution? Well, I suggest that you do what we used to do when we first started encountering it, me and my brother. I suggest that we go to the solution. We find that poison that will kill the pests, kill the cockroaches, kill the mice, trap the mice, get rid of them. Make it so much so that they start to become fearful once again. So when that light cuts on, which is the truth, they'll go to run again. Instead of when that truth comes, they don't have a sense of fear anymore. They don't run. They don't go hide. Let's make it so that they start to run again, start to go hide in their little crevices, in their little holes, the little underground tunnels and cities that they've built that we have no idea anything about, because that's where they go when the pressure comes, when that pressure comes, that we will not tolerate it anymore. Let's unify, stand together and say, you know what, let's do what Nancy Reagan or whoever came up with it back in the 80s and said, say no to drugs. Let's create a campaign that says, say no to hate. Say no to discrimination. And don't have anything to do with anyone who feels indifferent, who feels like it's okay to hate. It's okay to discriminate. It's okay to treat people indifferently just because of their color, of their skin. That's a campaign that says, say no. Why can't we all come together that don't feel that same way, that we're just going to tolerate these pests, these pedophiles, these sex traffickers and human traffickers and child traffickers? Let's just say no to it. All of us. There's got to be more of us that says no to it than it is those who are participating in it. We have to have that kind of a unification if we're going to ever get them to go back to their little holes that they came out of, the little closets that they used to hide in. We have to say no, and it's got to be enough of us that says no, that becomes their poison, so that they can run and we can get rid of these pests that we all used to hate. Don't become immune to it. Don't become numb to it. Don't turn the other cheek and look the other way and say, well, it's not happening to me. It's not happening to mine. Because if you continue to do that, one day you're going to go in your kitchen and you're going to see a whole lot of pests that you cannot get rid of. This has been another one of Brother Herman's updates. Until I launch a next one, I want you to be blessed. And I want our Holy Trinity to reach down and touch you and your family and all your loved ones. And even if you are the pest, I want him to help you understand that this is not right. To reach down inside your heart to help you change your perceptions and your thoughts so that you can change your mind and your behavior so that you can do better. That's my prayer for all of us. Because once we get rid of the pests, then we can go back to a comfortable lifestyle. And when we turn on that light of truth, we don't have to have anybody running away from the truth, rather towards the truth. May God continue to bless you, all of us and each other. May you have a great rest of your day, your afternoon, and your night. This has been another one of Brother Herman's updates, and I'm out. Thank you.